Hey guys, so I'm doing the Blockade mission, which as you can see quickly there that it has about the maximum LP reward of with my skills, which is about 5,600 LP and about a 2.4, 2.2 million payout just from the mission and bonus. Um, we're using the Vargur uh, artillery fit with a micro jump drive. And once again on this mission, I failed to take my lock range scripts for the sensor booster, so I'm just running a basically a Tech 2 sensor booster in normal mode, I guess, no scripts, so 30% range and 30% scan resolution, which is kind of nice. But normally at the ranges, you can, when you're jumping out, like I just did there, you want the lock range, and the scan resolution is really not necessary because you have plenty of time to lock targets. So the first thing I'm doing is getting rid of the stasis webifier tower, which oddly I missed somehow a structure, but we knocked that out on the second go around. Um, the blockade mission is probably the biggest money maker, or used to be one of the biggest money makers as far as pure bounty payout. Um, and actually, some folks would, um, if there, you learn the triggers for each wave, and there's always trigger ships that once you kill, either trigger the next wave or trigger completion of the mission. And some folks, I don't know if you can still do this, but I know some folks used to, if you go on Eve Survival and get the mission guide, it'll tell you what the trigger ships are or possibly are. And what some folks would do is run this mission, kill everything but the last trigger ship, and then leave the mission, go to another agent or whatever, pull some more missions, run some other missions, come back the next day, and basically the mission resets so they can just farm the bounties and the waves of ships. They can farm them for a couple days as long as you don't kill the last trigger ship. Obviously, you don't get the bonus reward, but that's only 1.2 million or something. So that's nothing compared to farming the bounties. So the blockades, and whatever space you're in, whatever faction you're running, the blockade is usually a really good payout. I think on bounties alone and mission rewards, it's a 20. This one was 20 mil, um, not counting salvage and loot, obviously. So just pure bounties and mission rewards. I think it's right at 20 mil, which we'll see at the end of the video. But here is knocking out the first wave, sending my drones down because all the destroyers and frigates are gone. So my drone is pretty safe from battleships. And here I switched to depleted uranium because it has a tracking bonus and further range. Because for some reason when I came into this mission, the fusion ammo, I was not hitting these battleships for very much, which you may have noticed earlier. So I thought maybe I needed a, a tracking bonus, so I switched ammo, and I was getting penetrating hits, good hits, but the maximum damage potential still is not there compared to your damage bonus ammo like EMP and fusion and phase plasma. Depleted uranium's pretty much split between explosive and thermal, but it has a zero range modifier, so it extends out a lot further and has a 20% tracking bonus built into the ammo. You can see here I'm struggling to kill these battleships with depleted uranium at 12 kilometers. It just takes way too many hits. I kind of, trying to learn the new ammo and stuff, and still um, new again to the new Eve and missions. Not the most efficient mission runner. I never was. I was never really about the whole blitzing and maximum efficiency anyways. But you see this, the battleship is well inside my range and he's moving pretty good. I haven't webbed him or anything, so I'm just not getting good hits on him at all. Um, I think there we go, there was a good hit, like 3,000 damage, but hitting him for like 400, 600, less than 1,000 damage. Um, that was kind of pathetic, honestly. So I was a little baffled in the beginning of this mission because I just was not. I know it's artillery. I know it doesn't track like autocannons, but up until this mission, I really had no problem hitting stuff. And then I give up on him because he's inside my range. Sick the drones on him, which I have really good drone skills. These are Tech 2 Valkyries, which are explosive damage, which is what you want against angels most of the time. And he starts tanking them. So I'm trying to go after these cruisers. I'm still using the depleted uranium, which actually is pretty good against the cruisers because they have a smaller signature radius. So the tracking bonus really helps. And you don't need the massive damage that you do with the battleships. So the depleted uranium was pretty good against the cruiser-sized ships. But once I see that the drones are being tanked by the battleship, I had to switch over and finally knock him out. And then, go back to killing the smaller ships. Now, I believe here I sick the drones on 2 destroyers, and you can see one is almost wiped out. It gets down to like 25% hull damage. So, but I say screw it, and I send them after the second destroyer, and they pop him, and then I bring him back. Losing Tech 2 drones definitely kills your profit margin on missions. So you want to keep an eye out on them. In fact, I'm actually thinking about fitting a small remote armor rep instead of that tractor beam so that I can repair drones when they get beat up. So basically this is just going to continue on. I finally switched back to fusion ammo to take out these guys because they're well within range now. They're all under 50k, and the fusion just puts a hurting on anything in range. So like I said, so I like the artillery fit. It's with the micro jump drive, it's very safe. It's kind of lazy. And I've been very hesitant to get aggressive coming back to Eve with my Vargur because, they say don't fly ships you can't afford to replace. Well, right now I don't really. I mean, I could replace it, but that would be a huge loss. So that's why I'm playing it kind of safe. Like I said, I do want to try to play like aggressively like I used to with the Vargur, which actually you had to because you literally could not fit artillery on a Vargur without power grid upgrades, which then cut into your damage mods. So it just defeated the whole purpose. So you'd always fit autocannons in either an afterburner or micro warp drive, and basically just you're like a giant stabber flying around at speed, lighting stuff up. So, a lot of people use the Macarial with pimp fit, and by pimp fit I mean um, Dead Space mods. I don't know about officer mods. Those are usually for motherships and Titans because they're so damn expensive. Um, but faction and Dead Space stuff like the Gist or Gitsy and the what do you call it? What's the Domination is Angels drops Domination mods. I can't remember what Gist something. I don't remember what that is. Um, so yeah, and I apparently I've noticed I got back into Eve and I noticed the prices on a lot of things have shifted as they've made adjustments to the game and balanced things. Um, like one of the first things I noticed was salvage. I think I mentioned it in one of my other videos. That the alloy titanium bars used to be the money maker in salvage, and I think that's because they're used in cap rigs. Well, now that CCP has killed passive tanks, you don't need and cap stable fits. Um, the cap capacitor mods are they're crap. So I think that's why the alloy titanium. I don't know for a fact. I'm totally talking out of my ass, so to speak, on what I've observed. So I think that's why a lot of the salvage has shifted because a lot of the rigs have shifted in supply and demand due to ship fittings changing so drastically. Um, and the 0-0 people can jump up and down all they want, but I think that really it's the high sec ship, uh, the mission runners really kind of determine the market. Because 0-0 they basically have their own markets anyways, so that and their prices are a lot different. So in Jita and high sec and all that, you know, the the market's run by mission runners and miners and stuff. Um, so when cap stable and passive tanks went out the window, I'm sure that shifted the demand in the complete opposite direction. So anyways, that's just kind of a little ramble on that. Oh, price. So that was supposed to lead into the fact that I've noticed that materials now are like 800 mil, which if I was a little more diligent and put a little more hours into mission running instead of mining lately, I would like. I've always wanted a Macarial since I figured out what it was. They're awesome. You can see that they are the default Angel pirate faction battleship. They I guess they've been rebalanced lately, but they used to be the fastest battleship out there, period, and the most agile, fastest battleship, and they could put out lots of damage with the autocannons. They require two racial skills, ship skills, Mimitar and Galente. So, and each racial skill gives a different bonus to the ship. It's like fall off and damage, I think. So like Mimitar battleship skill gives you the damage, and the Galente battleship skill gives you the fall off, or something. Maybe it's the other way around, but apparently they've been nerfed a little bit, or not nerfed. They've been balanced, so they're not quite so smack you in the face, overpowered or whatever. And apparently, I guess CCP has been hinting, or not hinting, they've basically come out and stated that the Macarial needs, and the Cinnaball, which is that those Angel frigates there, or hacks, heavy assault cruisers, missions anyways. They both need to be brought in line. So who knows what that means for the Macarial? I don't know. It has seven turret hard points, and it gets a ship bonus or a roll bonus. I forget what they call it, either a ship bonus or roll bonus of 50, like 25% faster firing for autocannons, something like that. So that's just a flat rate of fire bonus, a significant rate of fire bonus for autocannons on a Macarial. So, I heard they did bring the signature radius down because physically the Macarial is like the biggest battleship model, which kind of didn't make sense why it was the fastest and most agile when, if you look in the game, it's like it's a massive battleship. Um, but, yeah, whatever. I've been told they kind of brought the, if not physically brought the model down, they brought the signature radius down because it was huge. Um, but I still would like to fly one, whether they nerf it or not. I've always wanted one, and it would be something different to run missions with. Now, obviously, you have mission runners that don't care about salvage because they want fat, they want speed. Um, they want to get as many missions through as they can, as fast as they can, and just collect the bounties and the mission rewards and the LP. And then there's others, like me, that I'm trying out the mobile tractor unit, which is awesome. But really, um, the most efficient way is to dual box, and you have an alt with a destroyer loaded with tractors or just all salvagers now if you're going to use an MTU, and you just blitz missions with your mission runner, and then you go behind with your salvaging destroyer because it's got 8 turret slots, and you can pump up the cargo bay to a pretty good size on the destroyer. At least the Thrasher, I know you can. And then you go sweep behind the missions with your salvager, and you're still blitzing the missions with your mission runner. And that's but then again, you need 2 accounts and all that, so not everybody can do that. I'm this mission, I'm not gonna say could have. I'm gonna say this mission could definitely be done faster than I do it. I think it took me right at an hour almost. Maybe not quite an hour. Maybe like 40. Well, let's see. Total video footage, I cut it down. It was like 36 minutes. And that's cutting a little bit of it out of the salvaging. So if I didn't salvage, this mission was probably 25 minutes from undock to basically killing the last ship. And with an artillery fit, I think that's pretty quick. Now, I know there's some people, I can do it in 10 minutes or 15 minutes or whatever. Okay, that's fine. I'm sure you could. But like I said, I do not try to go out here and beat times and all that stuff. Not yet. I may, because, that's how I used to run my Vargur, was with a afterburner and autocannons, and had a Bastion mode's a pretty good tank, but a good sized tank, and just run around and shoot stuff in the face. Now, here I've always wondered. I haven't heard. So here we're gonna hear the new gun sounds, the new artillery sounds. We're gonna look at the new artillery. So there was just zooming into the new turret models, which are pretty cool. They're a lot smaller than I thought they would be. We're talking about turrets that are almost 1.5 meters in diameter. The barrels, the inside diameter of the barrels. But it's pretty cool. They do have recoil, and I think it's pretty awesome. So if you want turret sounds, weapon sounds, you have to turn on the world volume, which I had all the way down. I think most people play with the music all the way down. A lot of people play with all the audio on Eve off. And there's a beautiful Macarial, and he blows up, vaporized. That was the last ship, actually. So, and Bastion mode was perfectly timed there. I hate getting stuck where the new cycle starts and you have to wait a whole minute to turn off the Bastion cycle. Um, so we jump back to our MTU and we start salvaging. Obviously, and I think the salvage, I looked at it, I may have collected like 5 mil worth of salvage, and you could say that, if you can blitz missions, with or a Vargur or Macarial, you can just, and then we cut back to the hangar here where I look at, it's basically 20 mil, and maybe add in 5 mil for salvage, but and you can see the time stamp there too. So that's it.